Hey guys, welcome back to D-Tech. Today we are going to be doing another clone video. In particular, it's going to be on a couple of BMW DMEs. I have not done this particular version yet, but should be pretty straightforward. And I believe all the tools I have the capabilities of reading this particular DME. But for today, I'm going to go with the launch and show you the process with that. In particular because it's been actually pretty stable and it's been saving my rear end on a few jobs here lately when other ones have failed, in particular the OBD Star. So because of that, I'm going straight to the launch and we should be able to get this done pretty easy. And I think in particular that there is a feature on there that I want to explore that can help secure yourself with the procedure that you're doing and let you know that it's done right. So let me get set up, get some connections made, and then we'll get started. So these are the DMEs that we will be working with. I think they're out of 15650 possibly. I'll have to double check. But the customer found me off of obviously YouTube here, so he asked if I can get this done for him because he's been having issues with this particular unit. It's been sent out for repairs for misfire and he's still having issues, so he wants to completely swap out for a different unit, and so that's what we will get done for him today. And as far as the naming, this is a MSD85. Alright, so I've got my launch tablet here, and as far as the connections go, it's just USB hardwire to the interface, and then the interface, which this is the unit that you scan the vehicles with. Then you'll OBD connect that to the programmer. This is the top-down version, but the launch is the same thing. It's the same unit. And so this is the programmer, and then external power supply, and then here is our harness that we'll use to connect to the DME. But before we do that, let's go ahead and get our pinouts. So let's see, toolbox, and then EMO programmer. And then again, that just shows you how to do the connections. And so now we're in. So we're going to go ahead and look for our DME, and it's MSD85. And then look at the wiring diagram. And so here is our connection guide. Looks like it's just 2 grounds. We got 2 powers, and then can high, can low. Alright, I got my connections all made. I did have to make a little jumper here because of the 2 grounds feeding into the single ground there. No big deal. So from here on out, we will go ahead, connect, and try to read. Alright, so looks like we're in. Now, just to see if we are making good communication, let's go ahead and read chip ID. Alright, so we pull some info, some data. That's a good sign. Then let's go ahead and back up the Eeprom. So basically this is read Eeprom data. Alright, that was pretty quick. I'll go ahead and save this and continue on with the flash. Alright, so that's saved, and now let's do the same with the flash will read this, and we'll save that. And I did get a chance to look up the info again via the email, and it's a 14 BMW X6M with the S63 V8 twin turbo V8 engine. And so this particular vehicle still only uses one DME for the whole engine. A little bit later on they switched to two DMEs, so it's a 14 X6M. Alright, so we've read both the Eeprom and the flash, and they're saved to the tool. And before continuing on and switching over to the donor to write all this information, I want to try a couple extra steps. Again, this is more for myself in trying to verify the work that I'm doing. So I'm going to reread both Eeprom and flash. I'll name them something separate, and then we'll try to see if we can compare the two. Alright, so we are all done with reading and getting the original data out of this DME. So for right now, we're going to hit disconnect so we don't cause anything bad. So there we go. Now, let's back up. So this is the, let's call it home screen of the emo portion or the programming portion of the launch product. So if we go here, look at this, data comparison. So let's see. Okay, so as you can see, I've got both Eeprom reads there. So my first read and the second read. And if this is what I think it is, by the wording, this is going to help verify your reads. So it's going to do a full comparison between the two and double check and see if they are the same. If they are, then that means that both reads are good, correct, proper reads. They're not corrupt, no issues with them, so on and so forth, and gives you confidence in being able to knowing that what you saved is a good, correct saved data that was read. And there we go. So with this tool, now I have the option to be able to verify data that I'm either reading or writing and transferring over, so on and so forth. This is an issue that I have with the OBD Star. That one does not have any type of comparison, where here lately I've been pulling Eeprom data and it's been writing it incorrectly or different, or even pulling Eeprom reads from the same module back to back, and they are completely different reads. So this, with this tool, now gives me that little bit higher function or ability to be more secure in what I am doing and offering to a customer, especially when they're mail-in type computer service that I can't be at the vehicle or I can't get it right back right away to try to fix something. So that is a very good feature that I was not expecting to have, but now that's why I'm sharing with you guys this data comparison feature. And with that, let's check the flash. So I'll load up the original flash, and then now the second read of the flash, hit that and compare. There we go. So we now know that the data that we pulled and read is good and safe to go ahead and move on over. Now, just for giggles, let's call it, I'll pick some other random flash. Okay. And there we go. It's telling us that there's a difference. It's inconsistent. And so it's able to right away pick up, read, compare the two, and spit out a yay or a nay. So very, very good feature. Alright, so I've gone ahead, moved over my connections to the donor unit, and now we will continue with the writing procedure. But before I do that, I am going to read this data and save it just in case of any issues. So let's go ahead and do connect. And if it's like last time, it'll connect. So it's weird that it gives us that error, but then it does connect. And again, just to be secure and verified, let's go ahead and read the chip ID. There we go. We pull data, so everything is going smooth again. Let's back up or read the Eeprom data. And so I'll go through this procedure. Then I'll do the write, and then lastly, I'll go ahead and then reread what we wrote and compare it to the original. And we want those to match. That's the most important part. We want those two to match. That way we know 100% we've got a one-to-one clone. All right, so no issues writing both the Eeprom and flash. And then I quickly reread both of those, saved them. So now we can perform the data comparison. Again, this is probably the most important portion of a job like this. So let's go ahead and compare some data. So we're going to do the actual original read with the Eeprom. So it's this guy. And then we'll do the verify read right here. And there we go. So we've written exactly the same thing that we pulled from the original DME. So that's a good sign. Again, this is where I was having issues with the OBD Star, and there is no way possible to find out that you've transferred over incorrect or corrupt data unless you go through all the steps of trying to pull it, and then I got to move it onto a PC and compare on a hex editor, so on and so forth. This is a whole lot more convenient. Again, it just gives me a whole lot more confidence in doing this type of work. So now let's compare the original flash with the verify flash. And see, there we go. We've got an inconsistent, let's see. Okay, so we've definitely got an issue. Let me see what steps I want to take. Alright guys, so just before I continue on, clearly we had what seems to be an inconsistent write as far as the data there with the flash, but I'll bring you back to that here in a moment. Out of curiosity, I did want to connect the OBD Star, which is one that I used to use a lot primarily, but again, been having some issues, so you got to be cautious with what you're doing. So wanted to kind of show you. So there we go, MSD85. We'll hit start, and then I did this off camera already. It is now the next day. I did this last night, and I'll show you what I got. So I tried with this guy and this guy. So I'm using the 004, we'll hit yes. And the reason why sometimes I like to use the OBD Star is because it has a quick portion here where it gives you the ISN number. Now with BMWs and DMEs and so on and so forth, the more important portion is the ISN number. That's what is basically let's call it security number that needs to be transferred over into the donor. That's what makes everything work. The VIN number itself is not pertinent to get it started and running and pass security. Plus, the VIN number I think can be changed when doing programming and coding on the vehicle. But as far as starting and making everything happy, it's going to be the ISN number, which is why this tool, with most DMEs I've seen now, it'll have a quickly just read ISN and write ISN. If you want to skip everything and get a vehicle started, and then probably everything else might transfer over with coding and programming. And with that, I like to try and get the ISNs sometimes to just have as a backup if anything goes wrong, in which then I could probably make something work or happen again if something goes wrong. This tool obviously does not pull an ISN. You have to find it in the hex data. But enough rambling. Everything is there. Let's hit connect. So the switch is off. Then we'll go ahead and turn the switch on. There we go. And then we should be able to connect. And as you can clearly see, the OBD Star cannot make a connection to this DME. And that's what I ran into last night after disconnecting the launch. And both interfaces are not connecting. I've also went as far as making different connections because supposedly, according to this OBD Star, there are two connection setups. Now this is the same way at the launch brought up with the two grounds there, can, and then two powers. This one displays that you might have a possible second type of connection. And so I switched over to this one, and still both setups, both ways of connecting both interfaces, can't even make a connection to attempt to do anything. So that's what is frustrating with this tool here lately. It presents the capability on a lot of things, and when you go to do it, or if you're relying just on this tool to do it and get your job done, it cannot go forward with getting it done. And so then you're left trying to figure out what to do, and it's frustrating. Part of why I was going to try to do something with this one other than the ISN is it's been failing to read and write the Eeprom correctly. A lot of times that's where a lot of security information is stored, and if that is not correct, you'll definitely have a startability issue. But for some reason it's been reading and writing Flash with no problem. But on this one, I can't even do anything. Can't even connect. So not much to do there or show there, or can't retrieve the ISN. So let me continue. I don't think there's going to be much more, and I'll explain why. Alright guys, so I'm really overdoing it now. This video looks like could have been over and done with a while ago with the launch. But again, I tried the OBD Star. Now I'm trying the Autel. Now the reason why is because those are the three major big tools I have here when attempting to do any of this type of work. And so I'm under the assumption that I've got three tools to do the job. I'm down to, looks like possibly just one out of the three. Again, put yourself in the bind by saying, yes, I can do a job if you only had one tool saying it can do it, and then you cannot. Now you got to figure out what to do. I've tried to read the ISN or read the Eeprom with the Autel, and it's not picking up anything. Now I doubt the fact that it's going to be because this is the original DME. That's the one OBD Star failed on, and now Autel. But the launch did pick up info and data. We know that. So I don't know why these guys wouldn't, unless, again, that they just simply cannot. Now I'm going to move over to the donor, which has been cloned already, just to see again, but I doubt that it's a DME issue. All right, so after all those failures with the other tools, I just want to show you what I ended up finding. So after seeing that there was an inconsistency with the flash, I ended up doing, and I'll show you here, another read and save of the verified data, and then I compared it with the first write data that I read to try to verify. So basically, I'll show you. So verify flash. So that's the first time I read it after writing it. Then I'll pull a second read of the flash that I saved. And so we've got verify flash and then second verify flash. And so those two are read flash data after being written. And both of those are the same. So that means what it wrote is at least staying consistent. And it's not reading something different each time, which I have run into with OBD Star. Each time it would read data, it read it differently when compared over and over. So this one is consistent with what it's reading. So what it's reading is what it wrote, and it's 100% not changing. But I'll show you the difference. All right, guys, so here we got both files pulled up, and we are comparing what the differences are. This one here on the left is going to be the original data flash from the customer's DME. This one here is going to be the one that was written onto the donor, and I pulled it to verify to see what was written. And so if you remember, there was the thing that came up as inconsistent when compared from the original DME's flash to the written flash on the donor. But if you remember, the written flash compared to its same written, that was the same. That's what I just finished showing you guys. So it keeps writing in the same thing. The difference is the original, again, the original DME's flash is different. And the only differences is right here, this section, right here. And so I'll go through and show you. That highlighted one is a difference. That one's different. This one's different. There, 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 there. And that's all. That small section there is the only thing that's different. Now I can think that that is not going to make some sort of a hindrance in getting the vehicle started and running. Sometimes these data points have protected sections, let's call it, in the data sections that cannot be written over, but everything else can. And some of those portions do not pertain to, let's call it, security and so on and so forth. But everything else that does get transferred over, copied over, written over, is good information that has usable data to get the vehicle up, running, and operating. So I am almost wondering if that is just maybe one of those tiny small sections that are protected, cannot overwrite onto the section, but everything else seems to work. I 100% know that we are transferring at least the ISN, because the ISN is a huge, I think it's 30 something digit number. So I know that it's going to be good to get the vehicle up, running, and considered a good clone job. So I hope most of that made sense to you guys. I tried to be as transparent as I could be with the job that I was doing and the problems that I ran into with some of the other toolings, and also explaining the data inconsistency, we'll call it, that the launch was able to find out. Now, this tool has been very consistent for me here lately, so I just wanted to bring this video to you guys and show you that extra cool feature that up to this point I haven't had any other of the tools have that incorporated in it. The Autel has a verification, but it'll only do it after it does a read. You cannot actually load anything into uh, a section in order to compare two different files to see if they're the same. So that's definitely one of a kind for that tool. Again, um, I don't think many people know that that feature is there in the launch section. And then there's also one other one that maybe at some point I'll show you guys how this can actually do checksum correction, I believe, but it's only on some Bosch units. So I'll have to pull one up and modify and see if it can do a checksum correction for me. Again, that's all built in within the tool. So hopefully you guys took something out of it. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed it. And then for now, I'll get this DME packaged up and sent on to the customer. And then that's going to be it on this one. So again, thank you for watching.